How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Boxtalk. You know, they say potential and skill are two different things. One guy had potential a few years ago, coming from the contender, but he never really reached there. But now he's got a shot at Arthur Abraham for the WBO
Is it WBO?
Super Middleweight title.
WBO?
It's a Super Middleweight belt, put it that way. Ade, what do you think of this fight? Smith versus Abrams.
Look, the fight it's got quite a bit of. It's not. Everyone likes Paul Smith, so it's not got a huge backlash. It's not like, but a lot of people said he doesn't deserve it. But that's the thing with voluntaries. Voluntaries are almost, a guy can pick someone out of the hat, really, within within close proximity.
Yeah.
They can't pick someone out of the top 100 and say, yeah, I'll fight that guy, but they can pick someone in and around. And you've got to look at it with the Sauerlands now and with Matchroom. They're obviously, they've got a few sort of link-ups.
They're working together.
Exactly. So that's probably why the fight's happened. Does he deserve it? Again, because it's a voluntary, it's hard to say, but probably not in terms of what have you done lately type thing. You look at his defeats, Smith's record, and it was 3 defeats. George Groves is in there, the girl's in there. Both of those defeats were when those two opponents weren't world class yet.
They were coming up.
They were coming up. I think George Groves, the girl was for the British, and I think George Groves was Commonwealth champion at the time. So that kind of questions me is that how good is Smith? I'm not entirely sure how good, but every time he loses, to be fair to him, he puts another run together. See, he beats who he needs to beat. I'd like to have seen him against, say, right now, a top 20 ranked super middleweight, and then Arthur Abraham. But look, the chances come, you've got to take it with both hands.
I agree with you in a sense. Yes, he's not earned it as in he's gone through the route, gone through the title route to go get a title shot. But like I said, he's not a mandatory, it's a voluntary. As a voluntary, you could get a decent name who's got a decent record, a top 20-ish guy, give or take on who you could say. I say Smith's around a top 20-ish guy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so it's a fight that can be sold as well. When you like you said, when you got the UK and the German. European scene, it makes sense. So it makes business, it makes sense. So it's a fair fight for a voluntary. But us like it's slightly different. Like I was a huge fan of the Contender when it came on. I remember at the end of the show, I can't remember which trailer, I think it was Buddy McGirt, says that Smith should be a world champion. He has that kind of potential.
No, it wasn't Buddy.
Or was it? What was it?
Oh, slim guy. He's very slim, tall. Oh, can't remember his name, but it wasn't Buddy. I know who you're talking about. But we'll put it underneath the top. Yeah.
It'll pop in. But yeah, basically, he said he's going to be a world champion. He's got that potential. So you knew from young. Even as a TV show, you knew from me when he was coming up, he was about 20-0 at the time, that like he's a decent, or 10-0.
Audley Harrison's recent trainer. I'm sure it's Audley Harrison's recent trainer.
I can't remember who it was, but it all popped in my head. The point I'm making in there is that he's had this potential. Yeah. Yes, he's gone through, and yes, he has fulfilled that potential, but he's always been floating around saying, if he gets a string together, if he does this. But then what happened is Carl Froch came up and kind of took over that super middleweight mantelpiece and kind of left him behind. And then obviously you had James Ago with the Olympic gold medal. Again, that's a high profile thing. Yeah. Then you had the high profile match with Grove. So these guys got bigger profile matches that made them grow while he kind of sat in the background. But he never really went away. That's why I think that it makes it a decent fight on paper going forward. And it's a fight he can win.
It's a fight, yeah, he can win it. In terms of, if you look at the odds makers, I mean, look, he's a long shot, but he can definitely win the fight. Arthur Abrams, that 168 guy, where we've said he's the weakest out of all the 168 champions. Even now, with Anthony Durrell winning the title, I think Anthony Durrell beats him. Obviously, Ward beats him, and Froch has already beaten him. So he's definitely the weakest out of the 4. It doesn't mean he's a weak champion. He's just the weakest out of the 4. For me, I'm still not convinced. Look, Arthur Abrams was the king 5 years ago when he was a 160.
Yeah, middleweight, yeah.
When he was a 160 guy, it was that strong, bullish 160. He's got up to 160, and the guys he's not supposed to beat, i.e. Ward didn't beat, Froch didn't beat, Durrell, all the issues with that, but again, didn't beat. He's not really beaten a top super middleweight yet. I don't put Stieglitz in that top super middleweight bracket.
The problem with Abraham, he's a guy that is literally a 160 pounder. Yeah. Once he's gone up, that little bit of explosiveness, that little extra touching speed, that little extra physical strength is no longer there. Yeah. He's just like a physical, another one of the physically tough guys in the division. But what he has is that experience. Yeah. Being a world champion, a long-time world champion, and fighting a lot of the top guys at 160, which means he knows how to box, how to compose himself. And it's only really been shown out by the better guys. But the reason why I give Smith a good shot in this fight is a few factors. One, Smith is the natural bigger guy in there. Abraham has slowed down, and Abraham doesn't have to sit in that turtle shell too long and take too many shots. In a fight like this, where someone's a little bigger than you, a little stronger, you having those slight delays could be the difference between moving forward in the round and moving backwards in the round.
Yeah, but the thing for me was Smith has beaten domestic level fighters. They're the ones he's cleaned up with. I mean, apart obviously in between Groves and the girl, he's fought at Dobson. He's fought a couple of Liverpool shows back to back, and he's won the British title pretty much outright. He could have won it British title outright. The thing for me is, how far is Abraham above those domestic level fighters? And I think Abraham is way above those domestic level fighters.
Right. It is a huge jump. It's a huge jump. There's no if you had to make a bet, if you had to put your house on it, you have to bet on Abraham as being who he is. But when you're looking at potential, size, and like I said, seasoning as well. Like I said, Abraham is at 168 right now, but he ain't fought no at 168 since the Super 6 because he's no longer in that top echelon. He's got a world title, but you will argue that he's a top 10 super middleweight.
The thing is, look, the thing about Abraham as well, one thing, everyone talks about Carl Froch's best performance. Yes, it now is Bute. Before that, Carl Froch's best performance was Abraham. Him going over and having to box Abraham, not getting into the slugfest that he normally gets into. So that's a Carl Froch, a tough man, didn't want to get into a slugfest with Abraham because he thought the only way to beat this guy is to box. I don't know if, as good as Smith is, I don't know if Smith can box like that and can stick to a game plan. You know what Smith's like. Once he gets hurt, once he's a bit of blood, the red mist descends and he goes into a slugfest. I don't know if he can stick to what even a tough man like Carl Froch realised I can't do, which is go toe-to-toe with Abraham.
No disrespect to Smith, but you can't really compare him with Froch. Obviously, Froch is at a different level to what Smith is, so you can't really talk about their technical abilities because as much as Froch is a tough man and a fighter, he's actually a very good boxer, which is and also very underrated in his boxing skills, which people are starting to realise. I'm just saying that overall, yes, Abraham is the bigger name, is the favourite in the fight, but you just got to look at the other aspects as well. Like I said, Abraham is not fighting the top guys at 168 for a reason. He's taking the voluntary with a guy around top 20 for a reason. Abraham, in my opinion, is not a top 10 super middleweight for a reason. You could argue and say he's 8 or 9. You could argue
definitely top 10.
Easily top 10. Since the Super 6, he hasn't fought no one ranked in the top 10.
And he won the title of Stieglitz.
Stieglitz was easily the weakest. George Groves was going to fight Stieglitz about 18 months ago.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
But George Groves at the same time was not considered a world-class fighter either. These are fights that in my opinion, that have been picked to make Abraham stay relevant without staying relevant.
I don't even, but I cannot hear right now for you in front of you name 9 super middleweights better than Arthur.
I'm saying that I'm not looking at your division. I'm saying that I do not think he is a legit in the top 10. That's my personal opinion.
We're going to completely agree to disagree on that. I think he's definitely... I mean, I don't like looking at ratings, but every single sanctioning body, even Ring Magazine have him as top, I think number 5 in their super middleweights. BoxRec, who go by stats and statisticians, have him as number 4. So I'm not going to go against them and say this guy's not in the top 10. He's definitely top 10.
I'm not going against it. I'm just saying that he has not fought the top guys since he's been around. That's all I'm saying is that I like to count people on level opposition and who they fight and how they fought them. And like I said, take out Stieglitz, Abraham's last few fights have not really been against anyone of note.
Even the Andre Durrell disqualification, which is what it was, he put Andre Durrell down. Let's not forget that. That was a tough fight. And that was considered against the guy that most people consider the second best boxer in super middleweight behind Ward.
But when was that?
That's what I'm trying to say. No, that's my point, though. That's my point, is that against a fellow, which is what Durrell done to Carl Froch, against a fellow 168 guy, naturally bigger guy, he showed that he still can put the pressure on.
That was 4 years ago. That Abraham that fought then, the Abraham fights now is 2 different people.
Yeah, we're not saying that, but you're saying that he hasn't fought or done against any...
I'm talking recently. I'm talking of recent times.
Yeah, but then you've got to look at what Abraham's done. What's Abraham done against Okay, look at Abraham. Okay, in terms of looking at what they both have done, in terms of putting a super middleweight... Smith has gone against top super middleweights, i.e. both Groves, and the guy has been stopped by both. Those guys aren't stopping Abraham. No, not a shot.
No. I agree with you on that. I'm just saying I don't believe Abraham is as good as people are rating him is right now.
I don't think people do.
As in today's day.
Yeah, I don't think people do rate him right now. Yeah,
and
I don't think he's that highly ranked.
That's why I'm thinking that as much as, like I said, Abraham is the favourite, I feel Smith has got a shot in this fight.
Okay. I'm not going to... bet you another bottle of Jack Daniels, because you know what I mean? Cause I don't want to take 2 bottles of Jack Daniels off you. But what's your prediction then?
It's a tough prediction. Like I said, I have to make Abraham the favourite in this fight, but I do believe Smith will be in it. I think it will. If Abraham's to win, it'll be a late stoppage, or possibly points a late stoppage. For Paul Smith, he has to box smart, keep his distance, work hard when Abraham's in that tight show. Back him up and don't sit back for those lazy counter shots. You know, because sometimes Abraham kind of sits back, rolls his shoulder, and comes over those shots over. Don't wait for it. Just be busy and keep on it when he sees the opportunities. But I think the safe bet, like I said, is Abraham. But I do give Smith a shot in the fight.
Okay. For me, look, I like Smith a lot, but sometimes level of position, fighting in someone's backyard. The guys that have beaten Abraham, minus the Stieglitz injury with the eye, with the swollen eye, are the top super middleweights in the world. The ones that are out there.
4 years ago.
Yeah. No. Okay, okay, so the guys that beat him are the top super middleweights in the world. No one else is beating him. That's how hard it is. Carl Froch is Mr. Let's tough it out. I had to go there and box him. That's how hard it is. And you're going to someone's backyard as well. If the fight was in Britain, in Liverpool, look, good chance. In Germany, it's a tough ask. Do I think he's got a chance? Of course, every super middleweight's got a chance against every super middleweight. But I do think Abraham's just going to eke this out, points or late stoppage. But look, guys, what do you think? Leave your comments below. Another chance for Britain to get a legit, not a regular title, not an interim, but a legit title here. So Britain could, by the end of this fight, have four legit world champions. What do you think? Email us at
boxtalk@hotmail.co.uk and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at boxtalkuk.
And also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. And remember, check out our stuff on ringnews24.com and all their stuff as well for the latest news on boxing. Thanks for watching Boxtalk.